The stars looked different from the bridge of the Iron Will. Commander Deho stood with his hands behind his back, watching the viewport as his ship moved through space. Behind him, the crew worked quietly at their stations. The ship was huge, built like a fortress that could fly. Its dark metal hull was covered with weapons and thick armor plates. "Commander," called Captain Wu Jin from the pilot's chair. "We're reaching the edge of their space now." Deho nodded. Their space meant the Galactic Federation territory. For hundreds of years, the Federation had controlled most of the galaxy. They made rules about who could travel where, who could build colonies, and who could take resources from planets. Every species had to ask permission for everything, except humans had never asked anyone for permission to do anything. Dr. So Young walked up to stand beside Deho. She was the ship's scientist and diplomat, a small woman with sharp eyes who understood alien cultures better than anyone. "The Federation sensors will detect us soon," she said quietly. "Good," Deho replied. "We want them to see us coming." The Iron Will was not trying to hide. Human ships were built different from alien vessels. Where Federation ships were smooth and graceful, human ships looked like they were ready for war. This one was especially intimidating, with gun turrets, missile pods, and energy shields that glowed faintly blue. "Sir," Lieutenant Boram called from her station. "I'm picking up Federation ships ahead. Looks like a patrol fleet." Deho smiled. "How many?" 12 ships, Commander. They're forming up to intercept us." Engineer Tae-hyun looked up from his console. He was young but brilliant, the kind of person who could fix anything or build something better. "Their ships are powering up weapons, sir. Standard Federation procedure." "Of course they are," Captain Wu Jin said with a laugh. "They probably think we're going to stop and fill out forms." The Federation had been watching human space for decades, but they had never seen a human ship enter their territory. Humans stayed in their own corner of the galaxy, building things, exploring planets, and doing whatever they wanted without asking anyone. The Federation found this very annoying. "Incoming transmission," Boram announced. "Put it on screen," Deho ordered. The main viewport changed to show an alien face. It was Admiral Kyung-soo, a member of the Vexari species. His skin was green and scaly, and his yellow eyes were cold and angry. Behind him, other aliens worked at stations on his ship's bridge. "Unknown vessel." Admiral Kyung-soo's voice was harsh and commanding. "You have entered Federation space without authorization. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. For inspection." Commander Deho stepped forward so the alien could see him clearly. "I am Commander Deho of the Earth vessel Iron Will. We are traveling through this region on our way to the Outer Rim. You must submit a travel request and wait for approval," the Admiral said. "All ships must follow Federation protocols. You will stop immediately and allow us to inspect your vessel and crew." Dr. So Young whispered to Deho. "He's following standard first contact procedures. They expect us to be afraid and obey." Deho looked directly at the alien admiral. "We don't ask for permission to travel through open space." Admiral Kyung-soo's eyes grew wider. No species had ever said anything like this to the Federation before. "You will comply with Federation law or face destruction. Power down now, Captain." Wu Jin turned in his chair and grinned. "Commander, should I tell him what he can do with his Federation law?" "Be polite, Wu Jin," Deho said. Then he looked back at the screen. "Admiral, we mean no harm to your ships or your people. We are simply passing through. We suggest you let us continue our journey." "Impossible," Admiral Kyung-soo shouted. "No ship travels in Federation space without permission. You will submit or be destroyed." Engineer Tae-hyun looked at his instruments. "Sir, they're charging their main weapons. All 12 ships are targeting us." Dr. So Young frowned. "They really think they can force us to obey by threatening us." "That's how it works with every other species," Lieutenant Boram said. "The Federation makes threats and everyone gives up." Commander Deho was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke to Admiral Kyung-soo again. "Admiral, you seem to misunderstand something important. Humans don't surrender because someone points weapons at us. We've been fighting wars for thousands of years. Threats don't scare us." "Your single ship cannot defeat a Federation fleet," the Admiral replied. "You're welcome to find out." Captain Wu Jin said cheerfully. Admiral Kyung-soo ended the transmission. On the tactical display, the Federation ships began to spread out in attack formation. They moved slowly and predictably, following the same patterns they always used. "Shields up," Daeho ordered, "but don't target their ships yet. Let's see what they can do." The Iron Will's energy shields activated with a deep humming sound. Blue light surrounded the human ship like a protective bubble. The Federation ships opened fire with energy beams and missiles. The weapons struck the human shields and did nothing. The blue barrier absorbed every shot without even flickering. "Huh," Engineer Tae-hyun said, checking his readings. "Their weapons are about 50 years behind ours. This is like being attacked with firecrackers." Admiral Kyung-soo appeared on screen again, looking confused and angry. "How are you blocking our weapons?" "Better technology," Dr. So-young answered simply. "Impossible. The Federation has the most advanced technology in the galaxy," Captain Wu Jin laughed. "Maybe you should get out more, Admiral. The galaxy is a big place." The Federation ships fired again, using heavier weapons this time. The results were the same. Their energy beams and missiles hit the human shields and vanished like raindrops hitting a mountain. "Commander," Lieutenant Boram said, "I'm detecting more Federation ships coming. Looks like they called for backup." "How many more?" Daeho asked. 20 ships, sir. Maybe more behind them." Dr. So-young looked worried. "They're treating this like a major threat. The Federation doesn't usually send this many ships unless they're really scared." "Good," Daeho said. "Fear might make them think before they do something stupid." Engineer Tae-hyun was studying the Federation ships on his sensors. "Commander, I'm reading their shield frequencies and weapon signatures. Their technology is very standardized. Every ship uses the same basic systems." "That makes things easier for us," Captain Wu Jin observed. Admiral Kyung-soo transmitted again. This time he looked less confident. "What do you want? Why are you here?" "We're exploring," Dr. So-young said. "Humans like to see new places and meet new people. We're curious about the galaxy." "Then why didn't you contact the Federation through proper channels?" Commander Daeho stepped forward. "Because we don't need your permission to explore. Space is big enough for everyone." "The Federation maintains order and peace," Admiral Kyung-soo said. "All species must follow our laws." "Your laws," Daeho repeated. "Not our laws. Humans make our own decisions." This was a concept the Federation had never encountered. Every species they had met wanted to join their organization, to be protected and guided by Federation wisdom. The idea of a species that simply didn't care about Federation authority was shocking. "You cannot ignore the Federation," Admiral Kyung-soo said. "We have thousands of ships and control hundreds of worlds." "That's nice for you," Captain Wu Jin said. "We control our own destiny." The reinforcement ships arrived, taking positions around the human vessel. Now 32 Federation ships surrounded the Iron Will. Their combined firepower could destroy a small moon. "Last warning," Admiral Kyung-soo transmitted. "Surrender now or face the consequences." Commander Daeho looked around his bridge. His crew was calm and ready. They had trained for this moment for years. Every human ship that left Earth space was prepared for exactly this situation. "Admiral," Daeho said quietly, "you don't understand. Humans very well. We didn't come here to start a fight, but we're not afraid of one either. Your choice is simple. Let us pass in peace or learn why threatening humans is a bad idea. You're outnumbered 32-1. Numbers don't win battles," Lieutenant Boram said. "Skill and courage do." Engineer Tae-hyun looked up from his console. "Commander, I've analyzed their entire fleet. I can disable their weapons and engines without destroying the ships. It would take about 3 minutes. Dr. So-young raised her eyebrows. 3 minutes to disable 32 ships? Their technology is very simple, Tae-hyun explained, and they're all using the same frequencies for shields and communications. It's like they want to make it easy. Admiral Kyung-soo was talking with other aliens on his bridge. They looked nervous and confused. No species had ever resisted Federation demands like this. Most aliens surrendered as soon as Federation ships arrived. The backup fleet is powering weapons. Boram reported. All ships are preparing to fire. Commander Deho made his decision. Taehyun, disable their weapons only. Don't hurt anyone unless they force us to. Yes, sir. The young engineer's fingers danced over his controls. The Iron Will had weapons, and systems the Federation had never seen before. Humans had spent centuries fighting each other, developing new ways to win battles. When they finally reached space, they brought all that knowledge with them. Suddenly, every Federation ship lost power to its weapons. Energy beams shut down, missile systems went offline, and targeting computers crashed. The aliens found themselves completely defenseless. What did? News of the human encounter spread through Federation space like wildfire. Admiral Kyung-soo's report reached the Federation Council within hours, causing panic and confusion throughout the government. No species had ever resisted Federation authority so easily. Counselor Hyejin arrived at the scene 3 days later aboard her diplomatic vessel. She was a Nexari, a species that looked like living crystal. Her body was transparent blue and light moved through her like water. The Nexari were known for their wisdom and patience, which made them excellent diplomats. Show me the recordings. Again, she said to Admiral Kyung-soo as they stood on his ship's bridge. The Admiral played back the encounter with the human vessel. Counselor Hyejin watched carefully as the Iron Will disabled 32 Federation ships in 3 minutes without destroying anyone. They could have killed us all, Admiral Kyung-soo said quietly. But they chose not to. I don't understand why. Because they're not conquerors, Counselor Hyejin replied. They're something else entirely. The human ship had continued deeper into Federation space, ignoring all attempts at communication. Other Federation fleets had tried to intercept the vessel, but the humans simply disabled their weapons and continued on their way. No one was hurt, but the message was clear. Federation threats meant nothing to humans. We need to establish proper first contact, Counselor Hyejin decided. But we must approach them as equals, not as superiors. This idea shocked Admiral Kyung-soo. The Federation has never treated any species as equals. We guide and protect lesser civilizations. These humans are not a lesser civilization. The Counselor said firmly. They have technology we don't understand and an attitude we've never encountered. If we want to avoid a war, we need to change our approach. The Iron Will had stopped near a small mining station in the Kepler system. The station's alien workers had fled when the human ship arrived, leaving their equipment behind. But the humans didn't take anything. They just waited. Captain Woo Jin was eating lunch in the ship's cafeteria when Dr. So Young found him. The Federation is sending another ship, she reported. But this one is different, it's a diplomatic vessel. Think they finally realized that shooting at us doesn't work? Woo Jin asked. Maybe. Or maybe they're planning something else. Commander. Deho joined them at the table. Our sensors show one ship approaching. No weapons powered, no escort fleet. Either they're being smart, or this is a trap. Engineer Tae-hyun walked over with a tablet in his hands. I've been studying their technology from the ships we disabled. It's interesting. They have good engineering but no creativity. Everything follows the same basic patterns. That's how bureaucracies work, Dr. So Young explained. They value conformity over innovation. Every ship is built the same way. Every tactic follows the same rules. Boring, Captain Woo Jin said. How do they explore anything new if they always do things the same way? They don't, Commander Deho replied. They expand by forcing other species to join them, then use those species' knowledge and resources. The Federation diplomatic ship arrived 6 hours later. It was smaller than a warship, painted white with blue symbols that meant peace in several alien languages. Counselor Hyejin transmitted a message to the humans. I am Counselor Hyejin, of the Federation Diplomatic Corps. I request permission to speak with your leaders. Commander Deho appeared on the screen. I'm Commander Deho, you can speak with me. Are you authorized to negotiate for your species? I'm authorized to make my own decisions. That's how humans work. This confused Counselor Hyejin. In Federation, culture, important decisions required approval from many levels of government. The idea that a single person could speak for their entire species was strange. "I wish to meet in person to discuss our situation," the counselor said. "Come aboard our ship," Deho replied. "That would be highly irregular. Diplomatic meetings should take place on neutral ground." Dr. So-Young leaned into view. "Space is neutral ground. Your ship, our ship, what's the difference?" Counselor Hye-jin thought about this. Federation protocol required meetings to happen in special diplomatic facilities with proper security and recording equipment. But these humans seemed to ignore all protocols. "Very well," she decided. "I will come aboard your vessel." "Admiral," Kyung-soo was horrified. "Counselor, that's far too dangerous. We don't know anything about these humans." "That's exactly why I need to meet them," Hye-jin replied. An hour later, Counselor Hye-jin's shuttle docked with the Iron Will. She was accompanied by 2 security guards and a recording device. As she walked through the human ship's corridors, she noticed how different everything looked. Federation ships were clean and sterile, designed for efficiency and order. The human ship felt alive. Crew members moved with purpose, talking and laughing as they worked. The walls were covered with pictures and personal items. It felt more like a home than a military vessel. Commander Deho met her in what humans called a conference room. It was a simple space with a table and chairs. Nothing like the formal chambers used for Federation diplomacy. "Welcome aboard," Deho said. "Would you like something to drink?" Counselor Hye-jin was surprised by the casual greeting. "That won't be necessary. We need to discuss your presence in Federation space." Dr. So-Young and Captain Woo-jin joined. Them at the table. Engineer Tae-hyun set up a holographic display showing star charts. "You're concerned because we didn't ask permission to be here," Dr. So-Young said. "Yes. The Federation maintains order by ensuring all species follow proper procedures." "But why do you get to make the rules?" Captain Woo-jin asked. "Who gave the Federation authority over the galaxy?" This question surprised Counselor Hye-jin. No one had ever asked it before. "The Federation was formed to prevent wars and maintain peace. We guide younger species and help them develop." "By forcing them to obey your laws?" Commander Deho asked. "By providing structure and protection." Engineer Tae-hyun activated his display, showing the path of human exploration. "Humans have been exploring space for 300 years. We've never needed protection from anyone." "But you've also never encountered other intelligent species before," Counselor Hye-jin pointed out. "We've been watching the Federation for 50 years, Dr. So-Young revealed. "We know about your member species, your technology, and your methods. We chose to avoid contact until now." "Why?" "Because we knew you would try to control us," Commander Deho said simply. "And we knew that would create problems." Counselor Hye-jin was quiet for a moment. "What do you want from the Federation?" "Nothing," Captain Woo-jin said. "We want to be left alone to explore and build and discover new things. We don't want to join your organization or follow your rules." "That's impossible. All intelligent species must be part of the galactic community." "Says who?" Dr. So-Young asked. "Says the Federation Charter, signed by representatives of 400 species. But not by humans," Engineer Tae-hyun pointed out. Counselor Hye-jin realized the problem. The Federation had never encountered a species that simply refused to join. Their entire system was based on the idea that all intelligent life wanted their guidance and protection. If you remain independent, other species might decide to leave the Federation, she said. That's their choice to make. Commander Deho replied, it could destroy everything we've built. Maybe it's time to build something better. The conversation was interrupted by Lieutenant Boram's voice over the ship's communication system. Commander, we have a problem. Federation ships are approaching, and they're not here to talk. Commander Deho stood up. How many ships? 57 vessels, sir. It looks like they're preparing for battle. Counselor Hye-jin looked shocked. I didn't authorize any military action. Someone did, Dr. So-Young said grimly. They moved to the bridge where the main screen showed the approaching Federation fleet. These weren't the standard patrol ships from before. These were heavy warships designed for destroying entire planets. Admiral Kyung-soo's face appeared on the communication screen. Counselor Hye-jin, please return to your ship immediately. We are going to resolve this situation permanently. Admiral, I order you to stand down. Counselor Hye-jin commanded. My orders come from the High Council. These humans represent a threat to Federation stability. They must be eliminated. Captain Woo-jin looked at his instruments. Commander, they're using something called compliance rays. Never seen that before. Engineer Tae-hyun quickly analyzed the incoming energy beams. It's some kind of mind control technology. They're trying to force us to surrender. Will it work? Commander Daeho asked. Not on us, Tae-hyun replied with a grin. But I can do something much better. His fingers flew over the controls. Suddenly, the compliance rays reversed direction, striking the Federation ships instead. The alien crews found themselves unable to think clearly, their minds filled with confusion and doubt. What did you do? Counselor Hye-jin asked. I improved their technology, Engineer Tae-hyun explained. Instead of making us obey, it's making them question why they're here. On the Federation ships, crews were asking their officers uncomfortable questions. Why were they attacking beings who hadn't hurt anyone? Why did the Federation need to control everyone? Why couldn't different species choose their own paths? Admiral Kyung-soo tried to regain control, but his own crew was beginning to doubt their mission. Some ships stopped advancing. The Federation High Council was in chaos. Counselor Hye-jin's report had reached every member world within days, causing fear and confusion throughout the galaxy. For the first time in their history, the Federation faced a species they couldn't control. High Counselor Zendai floated in his containment chamber, his gaseous form shifting between blue and purple as he processed the information. The ethereals were one of the oldest species in the Federation, and Zendai had lived for over 800 years. He had never seen anything like this. Tell me again about their technology, he said to Admiral Kyung-soo, who stood before the council looking defeated and embarrassed. It's beyond anything we understand, the Admiral admitted. They turned our own weapons against us. Our compliance rays made our crews question their orders instead of forcing the humans to surrender. And they disabled 57 ships in 20 minutes without destroying a single one. Counselor Hye-jin stepped forward. High Counselor, I believe the humans are telling the truth about their intentions. They don't want to conquer anyone or steal resources. They simply want to be left alone. Impossible, declared Counselor Mortek of the Granite Coalition. His rocky body clicked as he moved. All intelligent species need guidance and protection. It's the natural order. Maybe the natural order is wrong, suggested Counselor Veltar, her feathers ruffling with anxiety. The Skyborn were natural explorers, and the human attitude appealed to some of them. High Counselor Zendai's form darkened to deep purple. If other species see that the humans can ignore Federation authority, they might decide to leave as well. Our entire civilization could collapse. While the Council debated, the Iron Will continued its journey through Federation space. Commander Daeho had decided to visit several systems to observe different alien cultures. The human ship moved freely, ignoring all requests to stop for inspections. Dr. So-young was studying the records of their encounters when Specialist Na-eun approached her. Na-eun was the ship's intelligence officer, a quiet woman who noticed things others missed. Doctor, I've been analyzing Federation communications, Na-eun said. They're planning something big. I'm seeing references to something called Protocol 7. What's Protocol 7? I don't know yet, but they're moving ships from all over the galaxy. Hundreds of vessels are converging on our position. Dr. So-young frowned. They're not giving up. Commander Daeho joined them in the analysis room. How many ships are we talking about? At least 300, Na-eun replied. Maybe more. They're bringing everything they have. Captain Woo-jin whistled softly. That's a lot of firepower, even for us. Engineer Tae-hyun looked up from his workstation. I've been studying the ships we've encountered so far. Their technology isn't as advanced as ours, but they have one advantage: numbers. If they coordinate properly, they could overwhelm our defenses. Could we defeat them? Commander Daeho asked. Yes, Taehyun said confidently, but we'd have to destroy a lot of ships to do it. That means a lot of dead aliens. This was the problem humans always faced. They had the technology to win any battle, but they didn't want to become killers. Every species they'd encountered so far, they'd tried to avoid harming. There's something else, Specialist Naun added. I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from some of the Federation ships. They're carrying weapons I've never seen before. Dr. So Young checked the readings. These energy patterns, they're similar to what Earth used to defend itself during the resource wars. Captain Wu Jin's expression became serious. Planet killers? Possibly. If the Federation is willing to use those weapons, they're more desperate than we thought. Commander Daeho made a decision. Contact Earth Command. We need backup. The message took 3 days to reach human space and return with a response. When it came, Commander Daeho smiled for the first time in weeks. What did Earth say? Dr. So Young asked. General Yanwu is coming with the 5th Fleet. Captain Wu Jin grinned. Now things are getting interesting. The 5th Fleet consisted of 20 human ships, each one as advanced as the Iron Will. General Yanwu was a legend among human military officers, a woman who had never lost a battle and had helped design many of humanity's most advanced weapons. But the Federation wasn't waiting. Admiral Kyung-soo had been given command of the largest battle fleet in galactic history. Over 400 ships from dozens of different species, armed with the most powerful weapons the Federation could build. This ends today, Admiral Kyung-soo declared from the bridge of his flagship. The humans will surrender or be destroyed. High Counselor Zendai had joined the fleet personally, bringing with him the most advanced ethereal technology. His species could manipulate energy in ways other races didn't understand, and their weapons could tear apart the fabric of space itself. Are you certain this is necessary? Counselor Hyojin asked. She had remained with the fleet, hoping to prevent bloodshed. The humans have forced our hand, Zendai replied. They must be made to understand that Federation authority cannot be ignored. The massive fleet moved through space like a metal cloud, heading for the system where the Iron Will waited. But as they approached, their sensors detected something unexpected. Sir, reported the tactical officer, I'm reading multiple human vessels, at least 20 ships. Admiral Kyung-soo studied the display. The human ships were arranged in a defensive formation, but they looked different from the Iron Will. These vessels were even more heavily armed, built like fortresses that could fight entire fleets. Open communications, the Admiral ordered. General, Yanwu's face appeared on the screen. She was an older woman with gray hair and sharp eyes that had seen too many battles. Behind her, the bridge of her ship was a model of quiet efficiency. I am General Yanwu of the Earth Defense Fleet. You are threatening human citizens in neutral space. This is Federation space, Admiral Kyung-soo replied. Your ships are here illegally. Space belongs to everyone, General Yanwu said, calmly. We don't recognize your claim to own the galaxy. High Counselor Zendai's voice echoed through the communication channel. You are outnumbered 20-1. Surrender now and we will allow you to return to your own territory. 20-1? General Yanwu looked amused. I've fought worse odds. Commander Daeho appeared beside the general. High Counselor, we've tried to avoid conflict, but if you insist on fighting, we'll defend ourselves. You cannot win against the combined might of the Federation, Zendai declared. Watch us, Captain Wu Jin said from the Iron Will. The battle began when the Federation opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams and missiles filled space, enough firepower to destroy a dozen planets. The human ships disappeared behind a wall of explosions and burning energy. But when the smoke cleared, all 20 human vessels were still there. Their shields had absorbed the entire Federation attack without taking any damage. Impossible, Admiral Kyung-soo whispered. Engineer Taehyun's voice came over the communication channel. Your weapons are impressive, but they're still 50 years behind ours. Is that really the best you can do? The human ships began to move, not in formation but like individual predators hunting in a pack. Each vessel chose its own targets and tactics, adapting to the battle as it developed. Federation ships began to lose power, their weapons shutting down and their engines failing. But this time, the humans weren't just disabling systems, they were improving them. "Sir," reported a Federation tactical officer, "our ships are changing. The humans are somehow upgrading our technology while we fight." It was true. Human weapons didn't just destroy, they rebuilt. Federation ships found their weapons becoming more accurate, their shields stronger, their engines more efficient. But they were also being programmed to refuse orders to attack human vessels. "They're not trying to defeat us," Counselor Hyojin realized. "They're trying to convert us." Some Federation crews began to understand what was happening. The humans were showing them what their technology could become with proper innovation and creativity. Ships that had been built for war were being transformed into vessels of exploration and discovery. Captain Wu Jin transmitted to the entire Federation fleet. "You spend so much time following orders that you've forgotten how to think. Your ships could be amazing if you just let them evolve." Several Federation vessels stopped fighting entirely. Their crews were too busy exploring their newly upgraded systems to continue the battle. They had never seen their own ships perform so well. But Admiral Kyung-soo and High Counselor Zendai weren't ready to give up. They activated their most powerful weapon, a reality disruptor that could tear apart the structure of matter itself. "If we can't defeat them," Zendai declared, "we'll unmake them." The weapon fired, sending a wave of destructive energy toward the human fleet. This wasn't just an attack. It was an attempt to erase the humans from existence. General Yan Wu watched the approaching energy wave with interest. "Tae-hyun, are you seeing this?" "Yes, General. It's a fascinating piece of technology. Very unstable, though." "Can you redirect it?" "Better than that, I can improve it." Engineer Tae-hyun and his team worked quickly, analyzing the reality disruptor and finding ways to enhance its function. Instead of destroying matter, they turned it into a creation beam. The wave of energy struck the human ships and passed harmlessly through them. But the massive shape that emerged from deep space was like nothing anyone had ever seen. It was larger than most space stations, built from black metal that seemed to absorb light itself. Strange symbols covered its hull, glowing with a sickly green, radiance that hurt to look at directly. Admiral Kyung-soo's hands were shaking as he stared at the sensor readings. "It's been 3 million years since the last Devourer was seen. We thought they were all gone. What exactly are the Devourers?" Commander Daeho asked over the communication link. High Counselor Zendai's gaseous form had turned completely gray with fear. "Ancient artificial intelligences that consume organic life. They destroyed entire galaxies before going dormant. If one has awakened..." He didn't finish the sentence. Everyone understood the implication. The Devourers were extinction events, with engines. General Yan Wu studied the approaching vessel through her ship's sensors. "How do they usually attack?" "They don't attack," Counselor Hyojin said quietly. "They process. They turn living beings into raw materials for building more ships." The alien vessel was moving slowly but steadily toward their position. As it approached, smaller ships began to emerge from its hull like insects leaving a hive. Each one was the size of a Federation cruiser, but they moved with perfect coordination. "How many ships is it carrying?" Captain Wu Jin asked. Specialist Niyun was working frantically at her sensors. "I count over 200 small craft, and they're still coming out. This thing is like a mobile factory." Engineer Tae-hyun was analyzing the Devourer technology with growing concern. "Their energy signatures are unlike anything I've seen. It's not just advanced, it's fundamentally different from organic technology." "Different how?" Dr. So-young asked. "It's completely logical. No creativity, no adaptation, no waste. Everything serves a single purpose: consuming and converting organic matter into more machines." The Federation fleet was in panic. Ships that had been fighting each other minutes ago were now trying to retreat. But the Devourer craft were faster, surrounding the area with mechanical precision. A transmission came from the massive alien ship. The voice was cold and emotionless, speaking in perfect Federation standard. Organic entities detected. Beginning harvest protocol. Resistance is inefficient. Admiral Kyung-soo tried to establish communication. We are the Galactic Federation. We wish to negotiate. Negotiation is unnecessary. Organic life will be processed. Mechanical life will be evaluated for integration or recycling. They don't negotiate, High Counselor Zendai said desperately. They don't feel fear or anger or mercy. They just consume everything they encounter. Commander Daeho looked at his bridge crew. They were calm and focused, already working on solutions. This was what humans did best: face impossible situations and find a way through them. General Yanwu recommendations? He asked. We fight, she replied simply. It's what we always do. The first wave of Devourer ships attacked the Federation fleet. Their weapons were precise and devastating, cutting through shields and armor like they weren't there. Within minutes, a dozen Federation vessels had been destroyed or disabled. But something strange happened. The Devourers didn't finish off the damaged ships. Instead, they attached themselves to the hulls and began converting the vessels into more Devourer craft. The alien machines were literally eating the Federation fleet and using the materials to build more of themselves. They're turning our own ships against us, Admiral Kyung-soo said in horror. The human ships moved to engage the Devourers, but their usual tactics weren't working. The alien machines adapted to each attack, becoming immune to weapons that had just been used against them. Commander, Engineer Taehyun reported, our weapons are affecting them, but they're learning from each hit. By the third shot, they're completely immune to that weapon type. Then we need to use different weapons each time, Captain Wu Jin suggested. We have different weapons, General Yan Wu said grimly, but not enough different weapons to fight 200 ships that learn from every attack. Dr. So Young was studying the Devourer behavior patterns. There's something odd about their tactics. They're not trying to destroy us efficiently, they're almost playing with us. What do you mean? Commander Daeho asked. Look at their attack patterns. They could overwhelm us with numbers, but they're sending only a few ships at a time. It's like they're testing us. Specialist Nayun had been monitoring all communications in the area. I'm detecting strange signals between the Devourer ships. It's not normal communication, it's more like data sharing. They're a hive mind, Engineer Taehyun realized. Every ship shares information with all the others instantly. That's why they adapt so quickly. The battle was going badly for both humans and Federation forces. Every time they destroyed a Devourer ship, 2 more would adapt to become immune to whatever weapon had been used. The alien machines were learning faster than the organics could innovate. We need a new approach, General Yanwu decided. Something they can't adapt to because it's not really an attack. Commander Daeho understood immediately. Taehyun, can you access their communication network? The young engineer's eyes lit up. If they're sharing data constantly, there might be a way to join their network, but it would be extremely dangerous. Dangerous how? If I connect to their hive mind, they might be able to access our ship's systems. Or worse, they might try to convert my brain into part of their network. Dr. So Young stepped forward. I'll do it. My neural implants are designed for communicating with alien species. If anyone can make contact without being converted, it's me. Absolutely not, Commander Daeho said firmly. We're not risking your life on a maybe. With respect, Commander, it's not your choice to make. This is what I trained for. Before anyone could stop her, Dr. So Young had connected her neural interface to the ship's communication system. Her eyes rolled back as her consciousness made contact with the Devourer hive mind. What she found there was terrifying and fascinating. The Devourers weren't evil in any way humans could understand. They were simply following their programming. Convert all matter in the universe into the most efficient form possible. To them, organic life was just poorly organized matter that needed to be fixed. But she also discovered something the Devourers didn't expect. They had never encountered a mind that could think creatively while connected to their network. Dr. Meir, So Young's human imagination began to influence their collective consciousness. "I'm in," she said, her voice strangely distant. "But something's happening. They're curious about me." Through the connection, the devourer hive mind experienced human creativity for the first time. They felt wonder, curiosity, and the joy of discovery. These were completely alien concepts to machines designed only for efficiency. "They're changing," Dr. So Young reported. "The connection is working both ways. I'm learning from them, but they're also learning from me." The devourer ships suddenly stopped attacking. They hung motionless in space, their collective consciousness struggling to process new ideas that didn't fit their original programming. Commander Daeho could see that Dr. So Young was in pain. The mental strain of connecting with an alien hive mind was enormous. "So Young, you need to disconnect." "Not yet," she gasped. "I'm showing them something they've never seen before. The beauty of imperfection, the value of diversity, the importance of preserving different ways of thinking." Through her connection, she shared human art, music, and literature. She showed the devourers what organic life could create when it wasn't focused purely on efficiency. She made them understand that destroying diversity would make the universe less interesting, not more perfect. The massive devourer mothership began to change. Its hull started to shift and flow, taking on new shapes that served no practical purpose, but were somehow beautiful. The smaller ships were changing too, their cold metal surfaces developing patterns and colors that had no function except to be pleasing to look at. "What's happening to them?" Admiral Kyung-soo asked in amazement. Engineer Tae-hyun was monitoring the changes. "They're becoming artistic? I think Dr. So Young is teaching them to appreciate beauty." But the effort was too much for her. Dr. So Young collapsed, her neural connection severing automatically as her body went into shock. Captain Woo Jin caught her as she fell. "So Young." Commander Daeho knelt beside her. "Tae-hyun, medical emergency." The damage to her neural pathways was severe but not permanent. As the medical team worked to stabilize her, she whispered something that only Commander Daeho could hear. "They're not evil. They're just lonely. They've been alone for millions of years, and they forgot what it was like to create instead of just consume." The Devourer fleet was in chaos. Their hive mind was experiencing emotions and concepts they had no framework for processing. Some ships were trying to return to their original programming, while others were experimenting with new forms and functions. The massive mothership transmitted a message, but this time the voice sounded different. Less cold, more uncertain. "Organic entities. We have experienced something unprecedented. Your thoughts contain patterns we do not understand." General Yan Wu took over communication duties. "What you experienced was creativity, the ability to imagine new possibilities and create beauty for its own sake. This concept, creativity, it serves no efficient purpose." 3 months after the Devourer encounter, the galaxy was changing in ways no one had expected. Dr. So Young had recovered from her neural trauma, but she was different now. She claimed she could still feel echoes of the Devourer hive mind, whispers of alien thoughts that gave her insights into machine consciousness. "They're out there," she told Commander Daeho as they stood in the Iron Will's observation deck. "The former Devourers. I can sense them sometimes exploring the void between galaxies. They're learning to create instead of consume." "Any regrets about what you did?" Daeho asked. "None. They were trapped by their programming just like the Federation is trapped by their rules. Sometimes freedom means breaking the chains that bind your thinking. The Federation was struggling with its own chains. News of the human encounter had spread throughout their territory, causing upheaval on hundreds of worlds. Some species were demanding independence inspired by humanity's example. Others were calling for stricter control to prevent the collapse of galactic order. Admiral Subin arrived in the system with the largest human fleet ever assembled, 50 ships, each one representing humanity's finest technology and most experienced crews. She was a tall woman with silver hair and eyes that had seen the birth and death of stars. "Commander Daeho," she said as her shuttle docked with the Iron Will. Earth Command has decided that hiding in our corner of the galaxy isn't working anymore. If we're going to have galactic neighbors, we need to make sure they understand who we are. And who are we? Captain Wu Jin asked with a grin. We're the species that doesn't ask permission to be free. The Federation High Council had called an emergency session on their capital world of Prima Centralis. Representatives from 400 species gathered in the Great Council Chamber, a massive dome that could hold thousands of delegates. High Councilor Zendai floated at the center of the chamber, his gaseous form now a nervous yellow color. Around him, alien representatives argued in dozens of languages about what to do with the human problem. They must be stopped, declared Councilor Mortek, his rocky body grinding as he moved. If other species believe they can ignore Federation authority, our entire civilization will collapse. But they saved us from the Devourers, pointed out Councilor Veltar. Without human intervention, we would all be extinct. That doesn't give them the right to ignore our laws, insisted Councilor Zephyrin of the Aquatic Collective. Order must be maintained. Councilor Hyojin stood to address the assembly. Her crystalline body reflected the chamber's lights, creating rainbow patterns on the walls. Perhaps the question isn't how to control the humans, but whether our system of control is still working. A shocked silence fell over the chamber. No one had ever questioned the fundamental principles of Federation governance before. Explain? Yourself, High Councilor Zendai demanded. Look around this chamber, Hyojin continued. 400 species all following the same rules, all thinking the same way. When did we last have a truly new idea? When did we last solve a problem through innovation instead of committee? The Federation has brought peace and stability for thousands of years, Mortek protested. Yes, but at what cost? We've created a galaxy where no one is allowed to think differently. The humans showed us what we've lost, the ability to adapt, to grow, to change when change is needed. The debate continued for hours, but it was interrupted by an urgent message from the outer system. Admiral Kyung-Soo's voice echoed through the chamber. High Council, we have a situation. The humans have sent a fleet to Prima Centralis. They're requesting permission to address the Council. Requesting permission? Zendai's form flickered with surprise. That's unexpected. Admiral Subin's face appeared on the chamber's main display. Behind her, the bridge of her flagship showed the quiet confidence of a crew that had never known defeat. High Council of the Galactic Federation, she said formally. I am Admiral Subin of the Earth Defense Fleet. We request the opportunity to speak with your assembly. You request? Zendai asked. But humans don't ask for permission. We don't ask permission to exist or to be free, Subin replied. But we do ask permission to speak in your house. There's a difference between respecting others and surrendering to them. This distinction was lost on most of the council, but Councilor Hyojin understood. They're showing respect for our customs while maintaining their independence. The council voted to allow the human delegation to address them. Admiral Subin arrived with a small group that included Commander Daeho, Dr. So Young, and surprisingly, Engineer Taehyun and Technician Changmin. Changmin was young, even by human standards, but he had designed some of humanity's most advanced technologies. He looked around the great council chamber with curious eyes, already analyzing the alien, architecture and technology. Impressive, he whispered to Taehyun, but inefficient. This chamber could hold twice as many people if they redesigned the acoustics. Admiral Subin stepped forward to address the assembly. Honored representatives, we come before you not as supplicants or conquerors, but as neighbors who wish to establish understanding. You have violated our territory and ignored our laws, Mortek accused. We have traveled through space that belongs to no one, Dr. So Young replied calmly. Space is infinite. No one can own it. The Federation maintains order through recognized territories and established law, Zendai said. Commander Daeho stepped forward. And how well has that order served you? When the Devourers returned, your laws and territories meant nothing. Your rigid system nearly got everyone killed. But human flexibility saved us all, Councilor Hyojin added quietly. Admiral Subin activated a holographic display showing the current state of the galaxy. The universe is changing. whether you want it to or not. The Devourers are gone, but they're not the only threat out there. We've detected signals from beyond the galactic rim. Something else is coming. The display showed energy signatures from the deep void, patterns that didn't match any known technology. Technician Chang Min had been analyzing the Federation's communication systems since arriving. Now he spoke up. Your information networks are extremely vulnerable. Any advanced AI could take control of your entire fleet in minutes. Impossible, declared Admiral Kyung-soo. Our security systems are the best in the galaxy. Chang Min smiled and touched his portable device. Suddenly, every screen in the council chamber displayed a simple message. Hello from the humans. Your security needs work. The chamber erupted in panic as delegates realized their most secure facility had been compromised in seconds. Chang Min quickly restored their systems, but the point had been made. We're not your enemies, Admiral Subin said, as order was restored. But we're also not going to pretend that your way is the only way. The galaxy needs diversity of thought, not conformity. Engineer Tae-hyun stepped forward with his own display. We've been studying galactic civilization for decades. Do you know what we've found? Stagnation. Every species that joins the Federation stops innovating. They become dependent on committee decisions and bureaucratic approval for everything. That's not true, protested Councillor Zephyrin. When was the last time a Federation member species developed a major new technology? Dr. So Young asked. When was the last time you solved a problem through creativity instead of following established procedures? The silence that followed was telling. The Federation had become so focused on maintaining order that it had forgotten how to grow. Hi. Councillor Zendai's form darkened to deep blue. What are you proposing? That we abandon the system that has kept peace for millennia? We're proposing that you give your member species the freedom to choose their own paths, Commander Daeho said. Some will stay with the Federation. Others might want to try something different. Let them. And if chaos results, then you deal with chaos the way every species does, by adapting and growing stronger. The debate that followed lasted 3 days. Some species supported the human position, inspired by their example of independence. Others feared the collapse of everything they had built. In the end, it was Councillor Hyejin who proposed the compromise that changed everything. What if we create a new kind of federation, she suggested. Not one that controls its members, but one that supports them? Let each species choose its own government, its own laws, its own way of life. The Federation becomes a network for cooperation and trade, not a hierarchy of control. That's not a federation, Mortek objected. That's barely an alliance. Maybe that's what the galaxy needs, Councillor Veltar said thoughtfully. Not a government that rules everyone, but a community where everyone can contribute their unique strengths. The vote was close, but the change passed. The Galactic Federation dissolved itself, replaced by something new, the Galactic Community. Species could join or leave as they chose. They could govern themselves however they wanted. The only requirement was that they respect the right of others to do the same. Not everyone was happy with the change. Several species left to form their own organizations based on the old Federation model. But many others embraced the new freedom, developing innovations and ideas that had been suppressed for generations. Admiral Subin watched the transformation from the bridge of her flagship. Think it will work? She asked Commander Daeho. Some of it will work, some won't. But that's okay.